My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm going to show you this mask, which is no joke. Um, I was given the name Peggy Dempsey Childers when I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 41, and I was kidnapped by my Uncle George, which is Elizabeth's father, which made them the illegal monarchs. This is my dad, King Edward VIII, legally wed to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. Um, my aunt is Georgia O'Keefe, the artist. So some of my family got into my kidnapping, along with um, John Kennedy's father, Joseph Kennedy, who was ambassador to England back 36 to 46, and he, Roosevelt, and my uncle helped in my kidnapping. Now, here you have Caroline Kennedy and Obama. By the way, he's from Kenya, and Kenya is where Elizabeth became the illegal monarch when her father, George VI, that helped kidnap me, died. I think it was 43, I'm not sure. But anyway, illegal, they are. Now then, what I wanted to focus on was I wrote a book, and I put this in the previous tapes or videos I've uploaded. I wrote about mind control murders. I didn't realize, this is back in 77 and before then, but I wrote the book in 77. And anyway, I got filled full of antifreeze on April Fool Day of 80, so you see it didn't get published, and I was banned to the National Forest in 86, and I couldn't even live there. So I'm just going to go right in because I just wanted this to upload. I am allergic to chemicals, and that's been used against me since I've been up here. I couldn't get jobs anymore, and I take out a Larry Flint because he was shot. The guy was programmed to shoot him, and he had me out at his home during a campaign in 83, and leased me a car, and I never heard from him since. He leased it for a year for me. Of course, he ended up in Butner, North Carolina Federal Prison, being tortured. So there you go. I can't blame Larry Flint. At least he tried, and he told the truth, and that's what he got for it. And again, I'm going to show you who's supposed to be the nice woman. How about that? Committed the worst crimes of the century. Now then, I'm going to just tell you these laws that have been broken and all points in between, and I can't get an attorney. If it happened to anybody else, they'd be locked up forever. Terry Sawyer, who was supposed to be a wrestler, I thought he was kind of a friend. I met him on the Appalachian Trail in about 1983. No, excuse me, 83, 93. Come to find out, he was supposed to have died in Sacramento, California years ago, and of a heart attack or something, but supposedly he was a DEA informant, and they questioned his death. Anyway, here he's supposed to show up here, and he's got the videos. He looks like him. Me and my sons used to watch him wrestle. Believe me, he looks just like him. So, you know, your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, I thought he was a friend. Come to find out, I mean, I didn't have options. I either camped out or was on the side of the road. I froze to death. I starved with everybody in this Roanoke area knowing about it. And when I tried to leave, I was made to come back here. So I'm going to go into 86. I lived out, 2006. Terry sent some people from homeless assistance. You know, I'm supposed to live in castles, and I'm living in a camp with no toilet, no food, no, you know. So he sends the homeless assistants out after all these years, and it would be easy enough to find me a place and pay for it, or let me pay for it if you kept the chemicals away. So they took me down to homeless assistance, took me to, and by the way, they have a van with homeless assistance plastered all over it. So you think this is doing me a favor, right? They take me to Edinburgh Village Retirement, and well, they got me in right away, suddenly. And come to find out, that's Edinburgh is associated with Edinburgh, Scotland, or the castle, which is where the monarch lives, which fits into all these patterns that I've talked about. So I go in there, sleeping on the floor, by the way, but hey, Palmer, Mr. Palmer, is the maintenance guy there. I get gassed. I am so sick, it's taking out my lungs, and yes, this really happened. So my immune system fights itself, and if you don't stop the chemicals or get away from them, that's the only way. There's nothing to stop. You get away from the chemicals, industrial, and they used them all on me. It was like a joke. But anyway, Palmer's wife is head of HUD here, or was anyway, Section 8, and Clater was her maiden name, and they're a prominent family here. Well, they have a home out right across almost Mountain Pass in the Jefferson Forest where I camped. So they saw me freeze, starve, beg over all those years, and they have this gorgeous home sitting up on top of the, well, it's kind of a mountain there a little bit, and it's surrounded by farmland, and now then it's worth a bloody fortune. Point is, I finally left there. I was so sick, and I'm leaving out the in-betweens, what happened. But Terry Sawyer took me there, and one of the women that lived across from me that ended up doing so much, she knew Terry, and her name was Carol Rogers Simon, and her ex-husband was a Jewish psychiatrist in Seattle, Washington. Now, what's she doing down there? And she said I was paying for the crimes that my family committed. And I have to say to her and the whole world, no, I'm paying for the crimes that the Americans have committed against me and are still committing. So the next one was Richfield, which in Salem, it's Roanoke, county here. And it was nice. Terry took me out there. He knew the people. I got right in. I got gassed again. So many people knew it, they would do nothing. So I finally left there. And the next one that Terry took me to, was Joseph's Dream Apartment in Bedford, on Joseph's Way. Bedford's just a few miles from here. He took me there. I got right in there, and it's owned by Reverend Moore, a black minister out of Washington, North Carolina. He owns a whole slew of these, and they're kind of nice. But again, you got the involvement of the federal government, and since nobody has to pay for the crimes, they do whatever they like. And believe me, Reverend Moore knew it. I talked to him, and he was there. He knew everything that happened, and he went along with it. So I was gassed and everything there, and so sick. And I looked up at the War Memorial, Bedford War Memorial, right out my window. And, it's like a joke. The British flag is flying by the American flag. They're shoving it down the Brits' throats, and they're shoving it down my throat. If they can kidnap a monarch and hold the Brits hostage and me hostage and get away with it and celebrate the 4th of July. Well, I went there on the 1st of July, and when I went in, the apartment, Terry took me there after we'd been to Happy's Flea Market to get me a piece of a mattress that I paid for. That's good enough for me. That's what they say, and that's what they say. So the time's going up on here, and I wanted to upload just this, and then I don't know. Maybe someday this is over and it's told. I certainly hope so. But anyway, the air conditioning goes out, and then the fumes start. And then if you try to complain, they already know it. It's already prearranged. So they just say, well, that's nuts, and who do I call? I sure don't call law enforcement. So anyway, Brenda Ellis was manager. So a lot went on. The air conditioning not only went out, it was fixed, but the fumes. Then where the air conditioning is housed in the little area, um, the pipes have been broken in the wall. They tear it down because of the mildew and mold. And of course, if they replastered it with me in there, that would make me sick. So, and I was going to have to pay for my days spent away from it. So they moved me to another new one just up the street in the same complex. Well, it really looked up at the War Memorial. And on the 4th of July, I have to say, I'm hearing the firecrackers. Everybody's celebrating the 4th of July. So, anyway, the chemicals were used on me all the time. I was so sick, taking out my lungs, liver, kidneys, you name it. So, on the 28th of February, I was so sick, and they had brought in a new maintenance guy, and they'd put out a bulletin there at the apartment complex raving about him. He's a former SEAL, Navy SEAL, retired, how nice he was and his credentials, and here I'm the monarch, and I'm garbage to them. God bless America. They would, I mean, you'd have to see what went on there. So I called to Affordable Corporate Suites in Roanoke, and this is a Jewish man who owns about 4 or 5 here, and I've been to them all, and they've done the same thing. So people say, well, why'd you go back? Because I don't have any options. I try to leave Roanoke, I have to come right back. Um, so rather than asking me why I go back there, people should ask, what can I do to really help you, lady? Um, so I called one of the corporate suites, a new one, and Roberta, the black lady, said, well, you come right on over here. She was the manager. She says, my brother works for the Bedford Police Department, and you'll be fine over here. Well, that was the biggest lie you've ever heard of. The few bucks I'd managed to save were gone in a heartbeat, and the fumes and all of it, and it's a joke to them. Really, it's a joke. So I did apply at Christiansburg, Virginia, a few miles from here, next to Virginia Tech, where the mind control shootings and all that happened. So Joseph's dream, they call it, I've forgotten what they call it. They give them different names, but it's all owned by him out of Washington, North Carolina, Reverend Moore. And this manager's name's Scott, and that's a brand new unit, too. And I tried and tried, and she tells me that they're going to have to do a background check on me from every job I've had and every place I've lived. Well, I've always paid my rent on time. So then I got a thing back saying that they didn't have to tell me why I couldn't get in, and it wouldn't do me any good to try. That, and this is illegal in itself. This is federally funded. She says, in essence, that I was undesirable. They're the ones did it to me. This is some kind of sick joke. So I guess that was what I was going to say, and hope this will upload. And it could happen to you. Mind control that I've written about that's been used, you're not immune to it. And you can even download it. I was telling this back in the early 70s, wrote the book in 77. Now I find out you can download MK Ultra, which, and Monarch Mind Control, and I'll let it go with that, okay?